It's a sport where you drive to the limit, and whoever drives to the limit the best wins. Before the race, I don't really talk to anyone, and I just clear my mind.
You would watch cars 4 times a day.
The rookie sensation came into the season unknown, but everyone knows him now.
I think it's the foundation of why I wanted to start racing. I mean, it's not easy. Everyone has to go through it. You do the hard work before the race, and you enjoy on the weekend, and that's it. The trophy is just an empty cup. There's no significant meaning. The significant meaning is yourself and racing. You know, seeing these new young racers coming up, it's really nice to see. When I was 8 years old and I had my first podium, I was wearing a Batman shirt. My mechanic started calling me the Bat, and the Bat will rise. When people come hey, can we have a picture? I'm like, oh man, these guys are supporting me. It's nothing like fame, it's just pure support. I see it as I'm giving other people something to enjoy about, something to watch on weekends. I didn't see my family for around 10 months, but I managed because I had my racing. It's such a beautiful country. Just to put it on the world map and say it's not just a beautiful island, but there are very successful people that come from Sri Lanka.
Yevan, that's crazy. You're 17 and you've figured out one of the key components to life.
Wow, that's a great question.
Sick.
Well,
Yevan David, welcome to the podcast.
thank you very much. Nice to be here, Jason. How are you?
Very good. Very good. So you're here in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
You just met the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And now you're here.
Yes, it was a couple days ago.
What was it like meeting somebody in government?
It was great. I mean, I came straight from a race. So going straight there was pretty cool. I mean, I arrived a day later. I met her and it was a nice conversation. I told her about the racing and stuff. She was quite amazed about the go-karting and going into racing. And yeah, it was a nice conversation. It was nice to be there as well. It's cool to see the government place and things like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you just made some pretty awesome wins. What exactly is that? Because I'm clueless to F1.
That's okay.
I really want to understand it from you.
Yeah, no, that's the best way to put it. So, I mean, what I'm doing this year is 8 rounds of the Euroformula Open season. And that's basically in between F4 and F3.
Gotcha.
So after this, F3 next year will be on the same weekends as F1.
Right.
So if the F1 race is at 3 o'clock on Sunday, the F3 race will be at 9 and stuff like that. So I have 8 rounds this year and 3 races each weekend. And I've had 2 rounds so far. So 6 races so far.
And you've won quite a bit.
I've won 3 of them. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are my results so far.
Right.
So,
what was can you walk me through exactly, for those who don't understand, the point of formula racing? What exactly is it?
Well, I mean, F1 race, it's a broad question, but it's a great question. What is it? I mean, it's a sport where you drive to the limit, and whoever drives to the limit the best wins. And everyone is chasing that feeling of winning and chasing that limit and chasing that feeling of being on the limit. So we start at a very young age. We want to reach that goal of being in Formula 1 because it's the main stage. You're traveling all over the world, doing your dream. And F2 and F3 and F4 are to help you get to F1. You know, you only get paid in F1. So that is the job, that is the goal, that is the dream. So yeah, people like Lewis Hamilton and Senna and all these guys, their dream was to be in F1, drive to the limit. That's what they did. They fulfilled their dream and they still are. So yeah, that's my goal as well. I would put it that way.
How do you think you came to that conclusion? How did you find out that was your dream?
It's an unknown, not unknown, but it's kind of been natural to me that it's just been my goal since I was young, because I started at 6 years old and I always watched the movie Cars. So that helped a lot.
I was told by your aunt.
Exactly.
Who's backstage.
Yeah. So having that love for racing at 6 years old, I started driving then as well. And I just got the feeling, started enjoying it. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Nothing else. Yeah.
Is it something that you actively had to pursue after you found out that you liked it? Because a lot of people find passion, right?
Yeah.
And then did you have to persuade your parents? Were you like, hey, I really want to do this? Would you kind of back me up? How did that work for you?
Well, initially, I was all for it, and I wanted to do it, and my parents were all in it as well. But then there can be some complications. It's not a cheap sport. You spend a lot of time away from family, away from home. So it was just about balancing that family time and being at the racetrack.
Yeah.
And,
what do you mean, like, from away from family? Like you don't see them?
Well, I mean, initially from like 2014 to like 2019, when I was in Singapore and mainly racing around Asia, I was driving every Saturday, Sunday. And my mom was like, okay, before we start this, we're going to have a solution, because it can't just be me going on weekends and being away from the family. Yeah. So every weekend, my whole family came to see me drive, and we were always together. So, you know, these things we had to think about and stuff. But from then on, once the basis was there, we knew that this was okay. This is what we wanted to do. And they backed me fully till the end.
That's awesome. You did spend some time, though, apart from them, in Italy.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That was tough because it was COVID. I couldn't travel there and back for races because it was like every other week I was racing.
Okay. So you were racing in Italy.
Yes.
During COVID.
Yes.
You went there.
Yeah.
But then you got stuck.
Well, it was 2021 actually. Okay. So lockdown was 2020. I didn't do a single race that year, and then we decided to go to Europe because there was no racing in Asia. And I didn't race in just Italy. I raced all over Europe, but I based myself in Italy. And I didn't see my family for around 10 months because I just stayed there the whole time. So I had to get used to, you know, doing my own laundry, cooking my own food. But I managed because I had my racing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's pretty odd for a young Sri Lankan to not have that support from their mom.
Yeah, I mean, they were very brave to let me go. I mean, even they were probably more sure than me, because as a 13-year-old, like, I mean, I knew I wanted to race, but to be away from family, that was the thought I had in mind. But in the end, it worked out. And I spent 3 years there. And in 2023, once COVID died down, my family moved to Dubai. It was close enough to Europe, so it ended. And then now I'm seeing my family every day.
Nice.
So.
How's Dubai for you? You've called it home also, second home.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool because, first of all, it's very close to Europe. So I enjoy just coming back home after races very often. And then it's not that far from Sri Lanka as well. So it's quite a nice home, but it can be very hot there. Have you been to Dubai?
I've never. I've heard, for some reason, the Middle East has not called me. I'm still part of the West. I think I'm called more back home.
When you fly back to Sri Lanka, where do you fly through?
Oh, actually, you're right. Doha.
Oh, right. Okay. But not Dubai. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. It's a cool place, but it can be very hot. Like from about March to November, it's like 45 degrees. So
yeah. Does that affect your training at all?
Actually, it kind of helps it.
Really?
Because you race in hot conditions, right? So if you train in extreme hot conditions and you really train and perfect that, when you go to Europe where it's a bit cooler and it's all right, you're gonna have the advantage. Yeah. So it's actually not too bad. Yeah. Obviously, you can't drive, but in terms of physical training and gym, it's better.
What do you train?
So I obviously train cardio. So I go for running and stuff. But in terms of strength, it's neck, core, arms, and legs. So pretty much the whole body. Neck training is one that only drivers usually do.
I've been seeing these clips online, and it looks intense.
I will admit though, it looks worse than it is.
Really?
Yeah. You know, it's like doing any other exercise, you know, like squats or bench press or anything. But I would advise you to try it just to see how it feels.
That is a dream of mine. You know what I mean? I would love to have a strong neck.
You know what? I actually have the neck device here because I just came from gym. Yeah.
So you carry the neck thing. Is it called a strong neck? Is it like the thing that you put
it's like a strap and then there's like a band to it. So you can literally try it.
We should totally do that.
If you bring shall I come? I can take it.
Is it just a bag?
Well, it's deep in the bag. This is the chain. And you attach it to a band. And then should I put it on you now? Or?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right.
Let's go.
Let me come to that side. Yeah. So I'll pull you from like the side.
Okay.
So you can see how it feels.
Yeah. So this goes over. So you carry this thing everywhere that you go?
Not everywhere, but like every time to the gym.
Okay.
Okay, that should be good. Does that fit?
Yeah. It's like covering my eyes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
And then just got it. Yeah, Velcro.
Okay.
Okay. And then so I pull from this side, right? And then just hold for like 10 seconds.
Okay. Ready?
And that's pretty good.
It's all that wrestling, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Oh.
How does that feel?
Dude, yeah. So you're pulling weights with that cable machine? Do you like tie this on a piece of?
Yeah, I do, and then I do that.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Well, I mean, usually I just attach it to like a resistance band,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's sometimes my friends that just.
Dude,
just
that
wanna
is
have
wild.
fun. But yeah. So
This is cool.
But it looks worse than it is.
I should
right?
keep this on for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have a strong neck, dude.
Sorry for messing up your hair.
Dude, I'm all good.
Yeah.
She's hurt my feelings already.
So I think I've twisted the oh, never mind, it's this way. To end off, I have to say a huge shout out to MercStop. They're my sponsor and actually my first sponsor that I had in Formula racing.
Right.
So huge
and
shout out to
is
them.
from here,
and
Sri Lanka.
Yeah. They're here in Sri Lanka. They have a billboard of me in Nugegode, which was the first one as well. So huge thanks to them and Shanki as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That a Sri Lankan company believed in you at first is just even better.
Yeah, it was like December 2023, and I remember being so excited because it's like my first sponsor, right?
Yep.
Like it was really cool. And Shanki, she believed like in me more than anything, like just believed in the journey, believed in the goal of reaching F1. And then last year we had a lot of success. We did a few videos in MercStop as well, and we have a very good relationship, and it's going very well. Yeah,
I love that. You just handed me one of your merch.
Yes.
And this is very cool. I got one with Batman on it. The bat will rise.
We can show the camera right there. The bat will rise. The story behind that is when I was like 8 years old and I had my first podium, which means finishing top 3 in racing. I was wearing a Batman shirt, and it was just a complete coincidence. But my mechanic started calling me the Bat, and the Bat will rise, and then it just caught on with everyone. My nickname became the Bat. So that's the story behind that.
This is badass.
And then the green has always been in my life, so that's why it's green.
I shotgun now. I'm shooting your Netflix documentary, so that's happening.
Sounds good. Very soon.
We're making it happen. This is great. So your training is, you're working on these specific things that actually help you with racing. Why is the neck important when it comes to racing?
Well, you think of basically driving a car, right? When you approach a corner, you're trying to go as fast as possible around the corner to the grip available, of course. So the faster and faster you go, the more weight is shifted to the other side. So like, when you're in a car and the driver accidentally takes a sharp turn and you go to the other side, it's like that for like every corner on the track. So you don't want to be moving around all the time because then you can't focus on what you're doing. So you try and make it stronger and stronger so that it's easier for you to focus and to relax. And that's basically how it works. Yeah.
I noticed Hamilton kind of took a flight on an F-150 or whatever it was called. It was like a super fast jet.
Yeah.
And people pass out when they go in these jets.
Yeah, I saw that video.
But then he's just like...
and he's just chilling, right? Yeah.
It's the breath thing. What is that?
That's a big thing as well.
Yeah.
I think it's like you practice this breathing method for like your muscles to relax. I haven't gone into it too much because F1 drivers and those fighter jet pilots, they go like crazy G-forces. But yeah, I think it's like a way of relaxing the body and the muscles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That would be a very interesting thing to check out. Like I wonder if yoga actually has something to do with
for sure. For sure. I think it would definitely help because I know a lot of athletes and drivers who have done that, which helps,
Yeah. Going back to the way you started, your aunt did tell me that you would watch Cars 4 times a day.
Yeah. Quite a lot.
Would you credit Cars for being one of the reasons that you wanted to be a race car driver?
Definitely. I'd say like more than anything is the foundation of why I wanted to start racing. I watched it a lot, and also like McQueen's personality, and then the doc, his advisor and stuff. Do
you have one of those in real life?
You know what? Actually, at the time, there's been a couple. Yeah. Well, basically, his motto was, the trophy's just an empty cup. Like there's no like significant meaning. The significant meaning is yourself and racing. So back then that meant everything. And that's why it's not only the foundation, but also the motivation. Yeah. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
Just a Disney movie.
Dude, honestly, I genuinely think movies help us like create matrices for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so whatever you watch as a kid frames it for you.
Exactly. And your beliefs are set as a kid, right?
Yeah.
So when you have movies like that, It's awesome. Yeah.
What other movies have shaped Yevan David's mind?
Have shaped? Definitely Cars is number one. But again, there's a lot of movies like Star Wars that I love to watch, and just seeing like this alternate universe of like how people go through different struggles and stuff. Have you watched Star Wars?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was a fan of the original. I hated on the prequel, but then I fell in love with the prequel.
Okay. So you like the prequels?
I love it.
Okay,
it's great.
That's good.
I don't know about the new ones though.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a different side to it, but I don't like it as much as the original or the prequels. But yeah, definitely Star Wars is one of them, and Cars. Yeah.
Fair enough. With what in Star Wars specifically, he does go through this motion in life where he does have to transform himself.
Yeah.
In the movie, he does go down like a dark bender.
Yeah.
Do you think you would ever go down that path?
So from what I see it, like Anakin, I think he was always clouded by judgment. Sorry, not judgment, emotion in a way. And I related that to my racing as in like, you can't let emotions get in the way of what you're doing. And like in the movie, The Jedi Order is like, you can't have attachments. Otherwise you'll have fear. Then those things will happen. That's what happened. He fell down the dark path because he was clouded by love, which is still an emotion. So I kind of took that like into my racing a little bit. It's like, you can't have emotions cloud your judgment because, yourself is the true feeling. So, yeah.
That's very interesting that you brought that up. You're on race day.
Yeah.
What is your mindset before you get into that car, before you see your team? Are you doing anything specific?
So let's say when I go out of the hotel and I'm going to the team. Yeah. To be honest, like, I always tell myself to have fun, and I'm always enjoying it because when I have fun, like all the problems go away, all the worries. So to be honest, it's nothing like serious focus and not like tension, no tension at all. It's just having fun kind of thing. Yeah. But like, let's say before the race, like when I'm getting ready and in the car and stuff, like I don't really talk to anyone and I just clear my mind. So I'm not thinking about focusing, but I'm just clearing my mind and then I go out. Yeah. That's
so funny that you mentioned that. I had the privilege of meeting this guy, the Iron Cowboy.
Cowboy.
Yeah. So he was known for like doing Ironman. So Ironman's like, run, swim, cycle, run.
And running. Yeah.
And then it's like this full length, ridiculous amount. And so he chose to do 30 Ironman in 30 days in 30 states in America.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
And then he went on to do 50, and then 100. Yeah. Well, he repeated the over and over again.
Yeah.
And what went through my mind was like, what is going through this guy's mind?
Yeah.
Like every time, because he's like, there was a moment in his documentary where he comes out and he's like kind of like all shriveled up because his body's taking like a toll, right?
Yeah.
And the camera guy's like punching into his eyes. And what you were describing about that moment, that switch, as soon as you get into the car, they caught it on camera.
Seriously.
And obviously you might not be aware of it because you're in it, right?
Yeah.
But the camera just picked a moment where he's like, I can't do this. And it's that you can see in his face, I'm not able to do this. And then all of a sudden it's just a choice. It's like, all right, let's do this.
It just switches.
It's just a switch.
Seriously.
Yeah. And I would love to know if any of the closest to you on race day actually noticed that.
Like there's a lot of things that my family and like friends say to me after race day, like, oh, you were like this before the race, you were like this after the race. And I don't notice it. So it's so true what you're saying. Like when you're in it yourself, you don't really notice it. And that's the importance of having a team around you as well, because they can see these things. But like, I would say it is important to have this analysis side, like him, because that's extreme. Like Iron Man, I can't do this, but then he just switches up. Yeah. Well, how would you say the importance of that is?
I think mindset is everything, right? Like if you're going in, like it's the same thing, even with our field, with filmmaking, it's like we constantly need to problem solve. And if we freeze in that moment, like you're not going to get your job done. You're not going to get the thing that you're supposed to be doing is not going to get done. Yeah. So I can definitely see that is the constant choice of like, you frame it, you stick to it, and you get it done.
I agree.
Have you ever felt like you've learned some lessons from some races that you weren't fully happy with? Have you ever had those moments where you were like, okay, I got to reflect on this. Maybe my mindset wasn't the best going in.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like things like last year where before each race at the start of the season, I tried doing like different processes, like, you know, going fully out of my comfort zone before a race, which is like waking up at 6 a.m. every day and like, you know, just fully being out of it. And then there was some races where I was like, okay, let's chill a bit. Let's see, like, if I enjoy before a race, how it would do. And it wasn't really clicking for me, like whether I tried different processes and stuff. And then I spoke to my family about it because it got to a point where it's like I was really doubting which mindset I had to choose. And they taught me that, you know, sometimes it's not about the mindset that is the result of what happens on the weekend. Like sometimes on the weekend, something might go wrong and it's completely unrelated to what you did before.
Yeah.
So then after that, it was just like one mindset in place, which was you do the hard work before the race and you enjoy on the weekend and that's it. And whatever happens on the weekend, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't change your process because your process is in place. That's it. It's fixed. And then once that started happening, the doubt started to go away. Yeah. You know, results started to come. So that showed the importance of mindset in my career.
I love that. You enjoy the process more than the actual result.
Exactly. Once you start enjoying that more, you focus on that more. And then the result is irrelevant. Yeah. And then when things start to not go your way, like on things that are out of your control, you're fine because you focus on your process, on what you can control. So you're not bothered by these things.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. You're 17 and you've figured out like one of the key components to life already, which is awesome.
I mean, it's not easy. Everyone has to go through it. You know, I was lucky to go through it at a young age, which is what racing does. But it's everyone's journey. You know, everyone will go through it at one point.
How has fame affected you?
I mean, I try to look at it as support because for me, it's especially since I went to Europe, like that 2021 when I went to Italy. It already started growing when I won my first race there and I started gaining followers. And I remember at the end of 2023, I was like, man, 3,000 followers. This is awesome. And
let's go.
we just hit 50,000 yesterday, actually. Yeah. And I just see it as like support. And then when people come to greet me, it's like, hey, can we have a picture? I'm like, oh man, these guys are supporting me. You know, it's nothing like fame or being up there or anything. It's just pure support, I love. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have opened up to people like me as well, that you've opened up a new sphere for Sri Lanka itself to take a look at this as a potential sport that they can get into?
I think definitely, not only me, but like how much F1 has grown and the more exposure in the world of this sport. And then obviously to have me racing in Europe and everything, it's definitely brought more interest to Sri Lanka. And, you know, some of my friends before COVID and before Drive to Survive, which I'm sure you've watched, who were like, had no interest in Formula One or racing. And now they're like, oh, did you see this happen on the race on Sunday? I was like, you didn't care about this like a while ago. But it's nice to see that, though. It's nice to see that, you know, a lot more people are interested. And I hope that a lot more of Sri Lanka will get involved in racing.
You're definitely carrying a lot of that weight in terms of like you're sharing this new world to a lot of Sri Lankans and they're interested. Do you feel pressure that you're carrying the flag on your shoulders and you're representing Sri Lanka at all?
No, not at all. Because another thing that was set in my mindset was, you know, and this was actually a problem for me, that I was the number one person putting pressure on myself. I was the one doubting myself and stuff. But then once that was in place and I started enjoying myself, and then these other people were supporting me because of my success, I saw it as such a nice thing, in such a like motivation kind of way, like a fuel. And I still see it that way. I don't see it like as pressure, but I see it as like I'm giving other people something to enjoy about, something to watch on weekends. So which I love. I really love to see the support.
So you were born here in Sri Lanka?
I was actually born in the UK,
right?
But I was in Sri Lanka every year. And, you know, I actually spent a couple months here when I was younger, like living here when we were transitioning, because when I was 3 years old, I moved to Singapore and I was raised there.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that you're a transition baby. I think so. Because you carry a lot of transition vibes with you.
Yeah.
And it takes one to recognize one. Do you ever feel like, have you ever felt that you aren't Sri Lankan?
No. I mean, I have Sri Lankan parents and, you know, my whole family is in Sri Lanka. So I've always felt connected when I'm here. Sure, maybe like, I don't know sometimes some of the slang that goes on in school and stuff. And, you know, like the modern society, but I always feel connected to Sri Lanka every time I come here.
Yeah.
And obviously, using the flag on the world stage. So it's lovely.
That's awesome. And your parents are from here, and you're of a concoction of different races and religions and all of that good stuff, because your last name is David.
Yes, that comes from my father's side. So my grandfather was David, and there's a Hindu background, there's a Muslim background there, and David comes from a Catholic background.
Yep.
And then my dad is Tamil, my mom is Sinhalese, and he's Christian. She's Buddhist.
Yep.
So it's a mix of everything. But, the way I see it, like all these different cultures, it all falls under the umbrella of Sri Lanka.
That's right.
So like I see myself as Sri Lankan, and I embrace all of them. I believe in all the religions and everything. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you, and I was going to ask you this, like what is your personal life like?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, let's say at home, in Dubai.
Right.
Well, I have A-levels going on. So
that's right. You're still in school.
Yeah, that's very true.
I forget.
What was your school life like?
It was a lot of the American curriculum and the Sri Lankan curriculum. Well, technically the British curriculum is Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
But two different systems.
Very different. Yeah.
Very,
you
very
did
different.
SATs, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I came back here and I graduated from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
I flew. I was flying colors. But America, I think it's also like it depends on who your peers are. Like what's considered cool there wasn't considered cool here.
Yeah.
At the time.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So skipping class and being, kind of like a badass is kind of cool there.
Yeah.
But in Sri Lanka, it's like you have to be studious. All the aunties should like you, and you should be like a teacher's pet. That's considered cool.
Yeah.
And so I did fall into that category at some point.
Yeah. And did you ever see yourself like doing online school, or like, I mean, it wasn't really a thing back then.
It wasn't a thing back then.
But do you think like you could be away from school and like kind of just do it by yourself?
Could I study by myself?
Yeah.
No, dude. I don't think I would have had the discipline. I think that takes a certain type of person to be able to study and really like bring up that because you have to be interested in school, right?
Of course, yeah.
Not many kids are like very interested to pursue it themselves.
I see.
I'm guessing you're on the other side.
So no, well, that's why I brought it up was that like when I was 13, 12, I was the same. I didn't want to do it. Like, why do I have to do like math and English when I'm like driving cars all day, right? Yeah. So, but my mom and my family like really disciplined me and like they taught me like how to make the fun out of school, like how like and to learn, just to learn. And now I'm doing like my interest in subjects, which is physics, psychology, and math.
Nice.
So away from racing, I usually just do that during the day. I spend time with my siblings who go to actual school. So after school, I spend time with them, and then we always do stuff like paddle or basketball or different things at home. And obviously, I have a simulator at home, so I drive a lot,
like a legit racing simulator.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so basically it's like a play seat, like a gaming seat, but obviously more structured.
Right.
And then you just have like a wheel, and it's like how a controller connects to a console, but on a PC.
Yeah.
And then you have the monitor, and it's pretty realistic, to be fair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I've been watching like AI just take this step forward every single day. It's getting like
It's wild.
I can't tell.
Yeah, it's true. What's your view on AI?
I'm embracing it.
Yeah,
I've got to embrace it. It's just
awesome.
it's just gonna help us take steps a lot faster.
Yes.
And like I said from the start, I think movies create a matrix for everyone.
Yeah.
And if you're influenced by it, you can help people think a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Which is why I think we're investing time here in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
We're putting back into Sri Lanka to see it actually grow from all it's been through. Now it's time for, and we can see Sri Lanka is like on this upward trajectory.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's why you're also invested in your homeland.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to the AI thing, I mean, like if we just talk about the basics of it, like how much easier it is to research or, to find facts and stuff, it's pretty cool, to be fair. And
absolutely.
I mean, I haven't explored to the extent that you have,
but
whenever I want to do general knowledge quizzes or stuff, I just search on ChatGPT and do it. Like, and it's much easier than like going to a site on Google and stuff.
I think there was a stat that everybody under 29 has used AI in their life. At least once.
That's pretty wild.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because I mean, if we're gonna move forward as a civilization, I think we're gonna need that extra boost. Right?
Well, it shows the impact that it's had on the world and the society. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna take a little bit more persuading for most to kind of fully absorb it and say it's part of us. Agreed. But I was gonna ask, in terms of your time here in Sri Lanka,
yes,
you're very invested in seeing this country succeed. Tell me about like why you're so invested in Sri Lanka and how exactly you see making an impact. What do you see from your own eyes?
Well, I mean, it's just such a beautiful country, you know, it's such a nice country to be from, to have the nationality from, and just to put it on the world map and, you know, show this island to the world and have the exposure and say, you know, it's not just a beautiful island, but there are athletes that come from it. There's very successful people that come from Sri Lanka. And in terms of my time here, well, I love to, you know, go to the local races. There's a track in Katakurunda and Bandaragama.
Yeah.
So going to that, you know, seeing these new young racers coming up, it's really nice to see. So I really like, you know, just being in my homeland and obviously experiencing it with my friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Do you see yourself spending more time here?
Definitely. I mean, in the last few years, obviously COVID was a bit hard to travel, but I've definitely been spending more time here, and I only saw my friends here like twice a year, but now I'm seeing them much more often, and it's really nice, you know. And I think even though the more and more I'm going to be in Europe, I think there's more time that I'm going to be spending here as well, because it feels like home. So definitely.
There was a really interesting thing about Arthur C. Clarke. Are you familiar with who that is?
Yes.
So he wrote 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movie,
right?
That obviously Stanley Kubrick made, and they asked him the question like, why choose Sri Lanka of all places, you know, to live and call home?
Yeah,
he said it's the only country that I could sit and actually envision what the future would look like.
That's deep.
Crazy.
That's
right?
really deep. Well, what about you? Because you're here like half of the year. Like, how does that work for you?
Honestly, that's exactly what I feel.
Right?
I do have to come back because you can get lost in that binary system in the West. It's a very efficient system, right? It works. You put something, you plant a seed, it grows.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka makes you, it runs you through a process of like this ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you think something would work and you're like, how come that didn't work? Why does it take 15 steps to do that one simple thing, right? And there's a beauty to it.
Yeah.
And I've learned to embrace it. And learning to constantly every day is like, it's such a beautiful lesson that the country teaches you every single time.
True.
We're an island nation. I think it holds such value. I mean, we're old. We're 3,000, what was it, 3,000 years before Christ or something like that?
Yeah, so something like that.
Yeah.
And like, I think the oldest civilization was like 30,000 years ago or something. Like that's crazy. But like you said, like, even though, you know, it's such a nice way of living nowadays, like there's so much history to it. And, you know, you can go up to Kandy and stuff and see everything. And then we have the beaches as well. Like, it's just such a nice island nation, like you said. Yeah.
What are the odds of you actually bringing your race car down to Sri Lanka?
That's a great question.
That'd
wow.
be sick.
Well, I would say as of now, the chances are pretty low, as in like these days. But in 5-10 years, it's definitely possible. I mean, like, to bring a Formula car down, that would be my dream.
Do you think we'd ever get to that point of Sri Lanka being, having a track here that would attract people?
In terms of bringing my car down, it would probably be like, just to see and not race, of course. But one of my goals is like when I retire and stuff, and you know what I do after racing is to actually, you know, have a big track here, like a grade A track, which is what the Formula 1 spec track is. Nice. I don't know if it's possible. We'll see in the future, but I would love to see it, you know. And then for the young racers who are willing to go to Formula 1 in 10, 20 years, they will get to have a home track. Absolutely. And, you know, we still have cool tracks like Katakurunda and stuff, but not Formula 1 level. So it would be great to see.
Sri Lanka we faced this tragedy. Obviously, we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
The recent past, like with the economic crisis, Aragalea, you get all of these things, you pile on. The youth are going to be like, you know, screw this, I'm out. I got to go look somewhere else, a better, greener pasture for me to like put my efforts into. And so we face like, you know, kids under 29 just like leaving the country because they're like, I want to like explore something different and something that's actually going to give back. But you're coming back here. Like, you come back. What do you see that they don't see? What do you see in Sri Lanka, the potential of Sri Lanka?
Well, from my point of view, in terms of the racing world, there's still a great track here. There's still local races. There's still a foundation where you can build. And obviously it's different in the racing world because in this case, Europe is the place to go to succeed. But in terms of other things here, like university and, you know, certain jobs here, I've experienced a lot of different things, like seeing different people and meeting different people. And I feel like there's a lot of places you can grow here and places you can, you know, fall in love with and just live here and, you know, like fully explore the success of life and how you can expand in Sri Lanka. So I would say it's different points of view, but from my point of view, it is the foundation of having a good life. So if you would want to succeed here, that should be your passion for sure.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you what your future plans are, but you've kind of already touched on it. But what is your near future plans? Obviously, you're finishing up your races now.
Yeah.
And then you've got school. Are you going back? Are you going to university? Are you planning on pursuing a college life?
Yeah. So basically, like, in terms of my racing plan, next year is F3, which is, you know, like global F3. We go all over the world with F1. And I'm looking to do that for maximum 2 years and F2 for maximum 2 years. Nice. So that's a maximum of 4 years before I get to F1. So if I'm done with school next year, I would love to do university, and I am planning to do university.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about engineering. It's going to be about cars because I love to learn about it. So I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah.
If I was to ask you, and we're going to run this back in 5 years.
Let's do it.
Yevan David, what would you tell your future self that's watching this clip right now? What would you want to let him know about where you're at in life?
Right now, I would say, you know, we're in a good place. Whatever's going on, keep going because you've got it. And remember who we were when we started, because it's all about when we started, the foundation 10 years ago. That's the basis of everything. That's what I would say to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is going to be so wild in 5 years when you come back into the studio and we're going to like play that clip.
Yeah. That would be awesome. What would you say to yourself in 5 years?
I don't know. I'm just going to be like, it was all worth it.
That is true. That's a great one.
It really is, because my wife asks me sometimes, she's like, are you sure you want to suffer through this? I'm like, I'm 100% sure. I've got a vision. I see something. I want to get it done.
That's all it is, right?
Yeah. I'm a little bit stubborn too. So
as long as you have the vision and the passion.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Dude, this has been awesome. This has been great.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you making the time to come in here straight after the Prime Minister's office. Very honored here at imno.Expert for you to show up and also inspire the youth, man. I really do think that what you're doing is, again, shaping a mindset for the future generations. When they see someone like you who's 17 years old, taking us to the world stage, winning races, being a badass. I could say that. You're a badass, dude. It creates a new framework for them, and you're going to create more champions based on what you've done.
Thank you. And I really appreciate, you know, like people like you bringing this up and saying that I'm really making a difference, because it means a lot, you know, hard work. And just to see that we're all one community in Sri Lanka, it's beautiful. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for being on the show. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks
a lot.